Unpopular Star Trek opinions. We all have them, and now it's time to talk about them. Hey, it's Janelle Waz, and welcome back to another Star Trek video. Introducing a new series of Star Trek videos on my channel.
Defend yourself.
Defend Yourself, the series where I talk about my unpopular Star Trek opinions. Now, before you hit that unsubscribe button, please don't unsubscribe. The idea behind this new series is to open discussion. We all have at least one unpopular opinion when it comes to our favorite media, and it's worth talking about and sharing the reasons behind our opinions. I know debates can get intense in any fandom, but I'm not here to disparage the popular opinions. I'm just here to offer my opinion. So,
defend yourself.
But before I go any further, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I talk a lot about Star Trek, video games, and whatever else I feel like talking about. Be great to have you aboard.
Don't you see? We're going to get a second chance.
Alright, we're starting this off with a bit of a doozy. I'm not a huge fan of the DS9 episode, The Visitor. Now, don't get me wrong, it has all the ingredients of a good episode, and there's a lot to love about it. For one thing, it highlights one of the best parts of DS9, Ben and Jake Sisko's relationship. In a franchise that has a lot of daddy issues, Spock and Sarek, Will and Kyle Riker, Laura and Dr. Sung, Inabra and Tane and Elam Garak, Admiral and Tom Paris, John and B'Elanna Torres, Jean-Luc and Papa Picard, Chakotay and his father. Wow, there's a lot of them. Ben and Jake Sisko have a good, close relationship. They relied on each other after the death of Jennifer, Ben's wife and Jake's mother, and Ben raised a good kid all on his own. The Visitor highlights that relationship and how tight of a bond the Siskos have with each other and how far Jake would go for his father. Tony Todd is also great in the episode as an older Jake Sisko. We've seen him before as Worf's brother Kern, a very different character compared to an older grieving Jake. He serves as a narrator as well as one of the key actors in this episode, and he does a really good job at both. Heck, Avery Brooks is great in this episode and has good chemistry with Tony Todd. We know he has good chemistry with Sirach Lofton throughout the show, and that chemistry carries over to Tony Todd for just a single episode. That's not easy to do. The writing is even solid. It's a properly emotional episode, and Tony Todd and Avery Brooks do a great job with the material they're given. You can feel what Jake is going through. He's not allowed to properly grieve and move on from his father's death because Ben's not really dead. Ben just keeps popping in and out of Jake's life because of an accident that causes him to phase in and out at random times, which prevents Jake from moving on to the point that it consumes his life. It's truly heartbreaking. Even the musical score for this episode is amazing. So, why am I not a fan of The Visitor? It has so much going for it. To be honest, the ending is what kills it for me. I could accept Jake telling a story to a longtime fan, giving her his things knowing full well he's going to restore the timeline to give him and Ben a second chance, so this timeline ultimately means nothing. But finding out that Jake was long-term poisoning himself so he dies and snaps the timeline back, that's what killed the episode for me. And yes, I understand why he did it. I still don't like it. I wish he had found an alternate way of restoring the timeline that didn't involve killing himself, because it was enough to keep me from liking an otherwise good episode. Nevertheless, that ending shot of Ben holding Jake, knowing what Jake went through in the alternate timeline to give them both a second chance, it's a great shot that shows their deep father-son bond, and the way Avery Brooks' voice cracks when he says the final line, it's pretty top-tier acting.
You okay, Dad?
I am now.
I'm at a point where I can recognize a good episode even if I'm not a fan of it, and The Visitor is one of those episodes. I get why people love it even if I don't. Also, can we talk about how the alternate timeline worked out for everybody else, including Jadzia, who was able to live a nice full life in that alternate timeline?
It's the only thing that's kept me awake while you prattled on about your latest paper or your new backhand or your kid's science project.
You're a wise man, my friend. Not yet, sir. But with your help, I am learning.
I actually like Season 2 of Next Gen. Now, I didn't always think this, and I've even said in the past that one of the reasons why the episode Shades of Grey was so hated was because to many fans, it's a clip show of two of the worst seasons of the show. But after so many rewatches of Next Gen, I've grown to appreciate Season 2. Heck, I even like it better than Season 7, which in my opinion was a pretty weak season. Season 2 of Next Gen is what Season 1 should have been. The writing feels more in line with the rest of the show, the actors are comfortable in their roles and aren't stiff, even the set designs are nicer and less cheesy looking than they were the year before. Heck, Season 2 has some pretty solid episodes. Elementary Dear Data is fun, The Measure of a Man is often praised as a Star Trek courtroom drama, I personally like the episode Pen Pals, Contagion features Carolyn Seymour, one of Trek's greatest guest stars. The Emissary gave Worf his best love interest. Kalar, gone too soon. Heck, Hugh Who introduced us to the Borg, which led to one of Next Gen's greatest episodes in The Best of Both Worlds, and also beloved Voyager character 7 of 9. Sure, the season has its low points like Where Silence Has Leased, The Royale, and even Shades of Grey, but every season of every show has its duds, and Season 2 has its fair share of watchable, even, dare I say, good episodes. Now, a big reason why a lot of people don't like Season 2 is Dr. Crusher's absence and Dr. Pulaski filling in as Chief Medical Officer. And yes, I've cracked plenty of Pulaski jokes in my day and have spent some rewatches counting the episodes until Beverly returns to the show. I covered all this in another video, a very, very old video, but I grew to appreciate Pulaski and even like her. I like that she wasn't afraid to butt heads with Picard. I like her confidence and that she was outspoken. Yes, there's her initial treatment of Data that's understandably off-putting to a lot of viewers, but you get to see her develop throughout the season and come to accept Data. Not many characters in Next Gen have that level of development, let alone in one season. Would I have preferred Pulaski and the rest of the show instead of Dr. Crusher? My answer's a little complicated. I like Beverly and all, and even think she and Picard should have become a couple in the show, but there are times she just rubs me the wrong way, and I wish Pulaski was there instead. I'm sorry, but quit hounding Worf about donating blood to the Romulan, Beverly! Pulaski would have understood. At the very least, I would have liked to have seen Pulaski as a recurring character in the rest of the show, but we only see her in Season 2. Maybe Season 2 of Next Gen isn't super well liked by most fans, but I like it and I enjoy it when it comes around in the lineup. It has its rough spots, but overall, it's pretty solid.
The Starfleet was founded to seek out new life. Well, there it sits. Waiting.
And those are some of my unpopular Star Trek opinions. So, what do you think? Did I defend myself well? Am I way off the starbase, or do you disagree with me but can see where I'm coming from? Or do you agree with me and think I made some pretty good points? Would you like to see this as a continuing series on my channel? And what are some of your unpopular Star Trek opinions? Please, leave comments below and discuss. As always, thanks for tuning in to another Star Trek video. If you like what you see, why not give my video a like and subscribe to my channel? Tell your friends! Until next time...
I couldn't disagree more.